So Uman, Sofiivka Park. A few years ago, the idea arose to create a park on the site of an overgrown ravine, organized almost symmetrically with the main entrance to the historic Sofiivka Park. At that time, it was hard to imagine that anything decent could come from this neglected, overgrown area. However, the work was completed. We designed a park spanning 10 hectares, shaping it with modern solutions. Now, step by step, we will review everything, and I will provide commentary accordingly. This is the first fountain location you see, which we are about to pass through, almost like walking through a corridor. We continue our tour. I am crossing a little bridge that spans a stream which once existed here and that we have shaped. Further along, it will turn into a lake. And here, let's pause for a moment. This place is a magical spot for children. A mapping installation is currently in operation here. We are now passing through the fairy tale garden area, where we can see these little cottages and, accordingly, children's playgrounds, where kids traditionally love to play, walk, and have fun. And now we have entered an exciting area, the so-called Japanese garden, where, on a relatively small territory, we have tried to recreate the special aura of a Japanese garden, a place where you can quietly soak in the atmosphere and relax. In this case, we are in a gazebo, where one can meditate in complete silence and tranquility. Be sure to take a panorama. I'm thrilled to see my pack again. I came to greet them, and I'm glad that everyone is safe and well. Here on this island, we see my friends. On one side, a ninja. On the other, a samurai in classic armor. Unfortunately, their duel hasn't ended yet. I hope they stay alive, because I like them. And again, we are in a gazebo. This is the next one. It's a bit smaller. Nearby is a little fountain, gently and pleasantly trickling. It makes you want to stop, sit down, think and dream. In short, a wonderful, fantastic atmosphere. An atmosphere of coziness and tranquility. As you can see, this didn't exist before. There was just a small stream, and now there is a pond that has been transformed into the area of the so-called Japanese garden, filled with appropriate greenery. And the little stones that have appeared here weren't placed randomly. They had to be carried by hand so that the entire area would be perfectly arranged. We are currently in the Jurassic Park area, which has been the setting for several films. They are all here, alive, very frightening, but still exciting to interact with. Now we will get into this boat and, thanks to Picasso, move into another zone. And now we have moved into another zone, a magical, fantastical world. Accordingly, we are greeted by a world-famous couple. Their names are Adam and Eve. What happened next? Well, we experienced it with you. We decided to commemorate this fact and invited them to stay with us. Now they live here permanently. As you may remember, they once lived in the paradise bushes. There, the Lord drove them out, and they decided to move to this place. And they are doing quite well. Living here is relatively comfortable for them. And now this might seem like a strange place at first glance. It's a very ambitious idea. We decided to create a kind of competition for the world-renowned architect Antoni Gaudi, who realized his vision in Barcelona. And here, in Uman, we made our own version. See for yourself what came of it. By the way, in the evening, the lighting here is phenomenal, creating a unique atmosphere of magical fantasy. And now, we have wandered into the prehistoric period. In the background, by the cave, the local population gathers there in the evening. They live there, and by the way, tend the livestock seen in the background, mammoths which have only survived here. Unfortunately, there are no more of them elsewhere, but here they are doing quite well. And these are the residents, as I warned you. Right now, they are getting ready to have lunch, and we won't disturb them. Well, you understand that this is an artificial creation. It never existed before. This idea was again inspired by the great genius architect Antoni Gaudi, who created his fantastic structures using metal as a framework and concrete, which allows for the creation of any desired shape. Well, here we have the familiar King Kong, whom we brought from Hollywood. He had done everything he needed to do there. It had become a bit dull for him, but here it's a little more fun. This is quite a lively company, so let him stay here for now at least. I decided to say hello to an old friend. This is the aunt from Kipling's book, The Jungle Book. She is Mowgli's best friend. She also felt a bit sad there, so she decided to move here to this picturesque company. Well, what can you say here? They were so happy. You all know it. I guess he's not very scary. In front of us is a dragon. I even decided to hold on to its tail. Because we've known each other for a long time, and somehow it has happened that people attribute some silly intentions to it, cut off its head and so on. However, in Chinese mythology, a dragon is a creature that symbolizes happiness, joy, celebration, and other auspicious qualities. Therefore, it seems to me that it is a decoration of this place, and it will continue to live here for many, many years, until the time comes when it is taken away and maybe flies to another place. But for now, it seems to enjoy being here. Here is the last scene. This area is called the Ukrainian village. We are now going to visit the yard and see how our parents and grandparents traditionally lived. And this is our classic traditional thatched roof, laid in this way by skilled craftsmen. It served for a reasonably long time and reliably. Here, the owner has sat down to rest a little against the backdrop of his estate. I really like it here. A few closing words. We have left the park area and are now in the so-called entrance zone. Here is our symbol, even marked with the year when all this beauty first came into the world. I am very pleased that I participated from start to finish, and the park continues to thrive to this day. It keeps getting better, more attractive, and as experience shows, people come here with pleasure. And may it always be this way.